The lobby of the Golden Crown brand hotel gleamed with its signature opulence, crystal chandeliers casting warm light across marble floors, gold-trimmed staff moving with practiced efficiency. Every detail had been curated for perfection. As director of operations, I had spent 5 years refining that perfection. Now, from my office on the top floor, I watched Robert Crawford, CEO of Golden Crown Hotels and my father-in-law, pace like a caged lion. "The numbers don't lie, Michelle," he said, slamming the quarterly report onto my desk. "Occupancy is down 15% across the chain. We're hemorrhaging market share to boutique hotels. Your modernization strategy is a disaster." I kept my voice steady, my real financial reports securely stored in a private cloud. The temporary dip was expected during renovations. Advanced bookings for next quarter are already trending up. Enough. His jaw tightened, his perfectly tailored suit doing little to mask his frustration. "The board meeting is tomorrow. I expect you to take responsibility for this mess." As the door closed behind him, I sank into my chair, exhaling slowly. 5 years ago, I had been a rising star in the hospitality industry, known for transforming struggling properties into luxury landmarks. Robert had pursued me relentlessly, not just for the company, but for his son, David. First came the marriage, then the job offer. "Join us," Robert had said. "Help make Golden Crown Hotels the pinnacle of luxury." Back then, I believed in his vision, a family-run empire where merit mattered more than blood. I had been so naive. My phone buzzed, a message from David. "Dad just called, what's going on?" I hesitated. Did my husband have any idea what his father was planning? Robert had always kept him compartmentalized, tucked away in the legal department, safely removed from the power plays of operations. "Board meeting tomorrow will be interesting, be there." I opened my laptop, bringing up the real financial reports, the ones proving that my modernization efforts had saved Golden Crown Hotels millions. Robert had been manipulating the numbers, engineering a false crisis to make me look incompetent. But what he didn't know was that I had uncovered his scheme months ago. Falsified occupancy rates, hidden profits, offshore accounts, classic corporate fraud, wrapped in just enough deception to pass a casual audit. But I had not been casual. I had been meticulous. A knock at the door. Alice Chin, my assistant and most trusted ally, slipped inside, a stack of files in hand. "The documents you requested," she said, voice low. "Anne, it's happening. Robert just called an emergency board meeting for 9 a.m. I nodded, unsurprised. "Earlier than expected, but we're ready. Is everything in place?" A rare smile crossed Alice's face. "Sunrise Hospitality Group's representatives will be waiting in the conference room down the hall. The timing is perfect." Sunrise Hospitality Group. The name still gave me a quiet thrill. 3 years ago, when I first suspected Robert was working against me, I had created the company as a shell corporation. Carefully, patiently, I used my personal savings and a network of subsidiaries to acquire Golden Crown stock. "What about the auditors?" I asked. "On standby. Their forensic report is ready." I turned toward the window, gazing out over the city that had shaped my career. The skyline was bathed in the amber glow of sunset, long shadows stretching between the skyscrapers. By this time tomorrow, everything would be different. Alice hesitated. "Michelle, are you sure about this? Once we start." "Robert made his choice," I said firmly. "He betrayed not just me, but this company. The fraud, the lies, the offshore accounts. It ends tomorrow." Later that evening, as I packed up my office, just in case, David called. "Dad's on the warpath," he said. "He's telling everyone you've mismanaged the company into the ground. What's really happening?" I thought about our 5 years together. The man who had stood by me, even as his father's criticism grew sharper. David was a good person, torn between loyalty and truth. "Come home early tonight," I said. "There's something you need to see before tomorrow's meeting." She opened the conference room's side door, admitting a group of sharply dressed individuals, representatives from Sunrise Hospitality Group. Robert's expression shifted from defiance to confusion, then to something close to dread. "Allow me to introduce some familiar faces," I said smoothly. "Sunrise Hospitality Group has been quietly acquiring shares of Golden Crown Hotels for the past 3 years. I paused, letting the weight of my words settle over the room. "And as of this morning, they hold a controlling interest." Gasps rippled through the boardroom. A few members turned toward Robert, waiting for his response. He opened his mouth, then snapped it shut, his mind racing to find a counterplay. Alice placed a final document in front of him. Here's the full breakdown of the stock acquisitions, she said. You might recognize some of the shell companies, they were quite discreet. Robert's hands trembled as he flipped through the pages. You. His voice came out in a whisper, laced with disbelief. You orchestrated all of this. I met his gaze head on. I protected what you were trying to destroy. You wanted to burn this company down so you could rebuild it in your own image. I made sure that when the flames died, I would be the one holding the crown. Silence stretched between us, thick with unspoken history. One of the board members, a seasoned hotel magnate named Eleanor Shaw, cleared her throat. Michelle, are you prepared to take full leadership of Golden Crown Hotels? I straightened, my voice steady. Yes. Eleanor turned to the rest of the board, all in favor of a leadership change. One by one, hands went up. Even the most loyal of Robert's allies hesitated, then reluctantly followed suit. Robert lurched to his feet. You can't do this. His voice was wild, desperate. This is my company, my legacy. I exhaled, leveling him with a look. It was your company, but legacies aren't built on lies. They're built on integrity, vision, and trust, and yours just ran out. Two uniformed men stepped into the room, private investigators I had hired alongside the forensic accountants. One of them held a legal envelope. Mr. Crawford, the taller investigator said, we have some questions regarding financial misconduct, tax fraud, and corporate embezzlement. We suggest you come with us. For the first time, Robert Crawford looked truly defeated. As they escorted him out, I turned back to the board, my pulse steady. Now, I said, closing my laptop, shall we get back to business? David, still standing near the door, met my eyes. He smiled, small, but full of something I hadn't seen before. Pride. Outside, the sun was rising higher over the city, gilding the glass towers in gold. The Golden Crown hotels would stand stronger than ever. Because now, they were finally in the right hands. A group of serious-looking executives entered the room. Allow me to introduce the representatives of Sunrise Hospitality Group, I said, my voice steady, which now owns 51% of Golden Crown hotels. The blood drained from Robert's face. Impossible, he breathed. Those shares weren't for sale to outsiders. They were very much for sale, I corrected, through various subsidiaries and on the open market. Would you like to know who owns Sunrise Hospitality Group, Robert? Before he could respond, I projected the ownership documents onto the screens. There was my name, clear as day, as the majority owner of the company that now controlled Golden Crown Hotels. You see, I continued, addressing the stunned board members, while Robert was busy manipulating numbers and undermining my position, I was quietly building something of my own. Every bonus I earned, every investment I made, went into acquiring shares through Sunrise Hospitality. It took 3 years, but finally. You planned this, Robert whispered, all of it. No, Robert, I tilted my head. You planned this. I just made sure I was ready when you finally showed your true colors. For a long moment, the boardroom was silent. Then Eleanor Shaw, one of the most senior board members, adjusted her glasses and spoke. Mrs. Crawford, she said, glancing at Robert before looking back at me, are you prepared to assume full leadership of Golden Crown Hotels? I straightened my posture, letting the moment sink in. Yes. Then let's make it official. The vote to remove Robert as CEO was swift and unanimous. His own allies turned against him, choosing self-preservation over loyalty. The security guards he had summoned to remove me were now escorting him out of the building. As the board members filed out, many stopped to shake my hand, offering congratulations. David approached last, his expression conflicted. Dad's never going to forgive this, he said quietly. I touched his arm. Are you okay? He hesitated, then straightened his shoulders. Yes, he said, because you did the right thing. We did the right thing. In the weeks that followed, Golden Crown Hotels underwent a transformation. The forensic audit revealed the full extent of Robert's fraud, nearly $50 million siphoned into offshore accounts over 5 years. The press had a field day with the scandal. Hotel heiress outsmarts corporate titan was my personal favorite headline. But the real work was just beginning. Without Robert's sabotage, I fully implemented the modernization strategy, renovating aging properties, integrating cutting-edge technology, and reinvesting in our staff. Within 6 months, our occupancy rates hit record highs. Even Margaret, my mother-in-law, surprised me. Over coffee one morning, she admitted, "I always knew Robert was too controlling, I just never had the courage to stand up to him." It wasn't about courage, I told her, it was about doing what's right, for the company and its people. Robert eventually accepted a plea deal to avoid prison, banned from holding any corporate leadership position ever again. David visited him occasionally, trying to maintain some semblance of family. But I had made peace with the past. 1 year later, I stood in my CEO office, once Robert's, overlooking the city. Below, the Golden Crown Grand Hotel still sparkled, but now, it was just one jewel in a true luxury empire. Alice walked in, a thick folder in hand. "Record profits again," she said, grinning. "The board is thrilled, and the employee profit-sharing program launches next month. The staff can't believe they're getting ownership stakes." I smiled. This was the company I had always envisioned, a business where everyone had a stake in success. That evening, David and I had dinner at the hotel's rooftop restaurant. He raised his glass. "To the real queen of Golden Crown hotels." I clinked my glass against his, watching the city lights flicker. "To doing things the right way," I corrected, "and to family, the ones we choose, and the ones who choose to do right." I thought back to something my first hotel mentor had told me. Luxury isn't about gold fixtures and marble floors, it's about making people feel valued. Robert had never understood that. He saw the crown but missed the responsibility it carried. Now, Golden Crown Hotels wasn't just a luxury brand, it was a legacy, built not on fear and control, but on trust, vision, and integrity. On my desk sat Robert's old nameplate, face down, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. That true power isn't about holding on to control. It's about creating something worth controlling in the first place.